Live from the BDN Studios, it's Bang and Dang.
That's awesome.
If you don't like that, then
You ain't black.
Welcome back to Outlaws and Gunslingers Mafia Edition. We're back at it for some more Mafia Edition.
so.
This time we got the Castellammarese War, which fought between rival families of Salvatore Maranzano and Joe Masseria. To which, after the war, is the formation of the five families and eventually the commission, which we'll cover the next episode. But for now, we'll go through pretty much the backgrounds of both Masseria and Maranzano real quick before we get into the actual war and the creation of the five families and the commission, which is created by Lucky Luciano himself.
Lucky Luch.
So, and we already did an episode on him.
We did.
At the beginning of when we started this podcast, because he was technically part of Prohibition when we did our little series on that. So go look him up if you...
Maybe we just re-release it, so...
maybe.
look for it.
Yeah, the war took place February 30th until April 15th, 1931, between Joe Masseria and Salvatore Maranzano's families. Joe Masseria, whose real name is Giuseppe Masseria, was born January 17th, 1886, in Menfi, province of Agrigento, Sicily. Jeez. And a family of tailors. When he was young, he moved to the town of Marsala in the province of Trapani.
Oh, wow.
Masseria arrived in the United States in 1902 and became part of the Morello crime family, based in Harlem and parts of Little Italy and southern Manhattan. He was a contemporary of other captains of that mafia family, such as Gaetano Reina. 1909, he was convicted of burglary and received a suspended sentence.
Oh.
May 23rd, 1913, he was sentenced to 4 to 6 years in prison for third-degree burglary.
Wow. We took that shit serious back then. The 1910s ended. Masseria and boss Salvatore D'Aquila vied for power in New York. They wanted power, and neither one of them were going to back down. By the early 1920s, they were at war with each other. 1920, Masseria had recruited Lucky Luciano as one of his gunmen. D'Aquila also had a gunman working for him. His name was Umberto Valente, and ordered him to kill Masseria. Oh, hope so.
Right.
I don't hope so. But for his sake.
For his sake, right. For his family's sake.
Right.
It's for the family.
7th of May, 1922, the boss of the Morello Terranova crime family, Vincenzo Terranova, was killed in a drive-by shooting near his East 116th Street home. Valente was believed to have been personally responsible. Hours later, Terranova's underboss, Silva Tagliagamba, was fatally wounded in Lower Manhattan by Valente and gunmen working for him.
Right. Well, the next day, Valenti and some of his men attacked the new boss of the rival Terranova family, which was Masseria. Valenti found out that Masseria and his bodyguards were on Grand Street within a block of a police headquarters. Masseria got away, but the gunman had shot 4 men and 2 women. He then tossed his pistol away and was arrested while fleeing the scene, Masseria was. Why?
You're not supposed to shoot women.
Well, why is Masseria arrested? He's got shot at.
All right.
August 9, 1922, Masseria walked out of his apartment at 82nd Avenue, whatever, New York, you guys do some weird things, and was rushed by 2 armed men who opened fire on him. He ducked into a store at 82nd Avenue and with the gunmen in pursuit.
Oh, shit. This dude's lucky.
Yeah.
They shot out the front window and shot up the inside of the store. The gunmen fled across 2nd Avenue to a getaway car, idling just around the corner on East 5th Street. The car, it was a Hudson Cruiser. The gunmen jumped on the running boards as the car sped away westward on East 5th Street towards the Bowery. Guns ablazing. The gunmen then plowed through a crowd, and shot randomly at the blockade, wounding 6 men. Masseria survived the incident and was found by police in his upstairs bedroom, shell-shocked.
I bet, dude. Just getting killed every time he walks.
Right.
About to get killed every time he walks out. Well, he was sitting on his bed dazed with 2 bullet holes through his straw hat, which he was still wearing.
Whoa.
The incident gained Masseria new respect among gangsters as the man who can dodge bullets, and his reputation began to rise as D'Aquila's began to wane.
Wow.
48 hours later, August 11th, Valenti attended a meeting in a cafe at the corner of 2nd Avenue and East 12th Street, where he was murdered as he tried to flee.
Oh.
Got his shit.
He did, too. He thought it was all big and bad. Well, Salvatore Maranzano was the youngest of 12 children, born Domenico Maranzano and Antonina Pisciata. 5 of his siblings lived to adulthood: Mariano, Angelo, Niccolo, Giuseppe, and Angela. As a youngster, Maranzano, he wanted to become a priest and even studied to become one, but later became associated with the Mafia in his homeland.
That's a hell of a 180.
Maranzano had a very commanding presence, was greatly respected by his underworld peers. He had a fascination with Julius Caesar and the Roman Empire, and enjoyed talking to his less educated American mafia counterparts about these subjects. He's like, come here, stupids.
Stupid, I'll tell you about Julius. I don't know, that doesn't even sound like him. Because of this, he was nicknamed Little Caesar by his underworld peers. He then immigrated from Sicily to the United States in 1920, settling in Brooklyn. The Sicilian mafioso Don Vito Ferro decided to make a bid for control of mafia operations in the United States. From his base in the Castellammarese del Golfo, Maranzano was sent to seize control. While building a legitimate business as a real estate broker, Maranzano also maintained a growing bootlegging business, using the real estate company as a front for his illegal operation.
Obviously.
He soon became involved in prostitution and the illegal smuggling of narcotics.
Makes sense.
He also took a liking to a young Joseph Bonanno and became his mentor. Bonanno, who was going to be the leader of his own family soon.
Right, Bonanno. Still in the 1920s, mafia operations in the United States were controlled by Giuseppe Joe the Boss Masseria.
Sure was.
Whose faction consisted mainly of gangsters from Sicily, along with Calabria and the Campania. They were the regions of southern Italy. I didn't know that. Masseria's, I don't know anything about Italy. So.
Well, the Campania was the Camorra. Right. We remember we covered the Camorra War already.
Masseria's faction included Lucky Luciano, Albert Anastasia, they called him Mad Hatter, Vito Genovese, Alfred Mignot, Willie Moretti, Joe Adonis, and Frank Costello. Everybody knows Frank Costello. Old Jack Nicholson himself.
Nope. Jack Nicholson's character was based on Whitey Bulger.
Yeah, but his name was Frank Costello.
Yes, it was. Francis.
However, powerful Sicilian Don Vito Ferro decided to make a bid for control of the mafia operations.
He sure did.
He sent Salvatore Maranzano from his base of Castellammarese del Golfo to seize control.
Well, the Castellammarese faction in the U.S. included Joseph Joe Bananas Bonanno, Stefano the Undertaker, Magadino, Joseph Profaci, and Joe Aiello. As it became more and more evident that the two factions would clash for leadership of the mafia, they each sought to recruit more followers to support them.
Right.
Outwardly, the Castellammarese War was between the forces of Masseria and Maranzano.
Clearly.
Underneath, however, there was also a generational conflict between the old guard Sicilian leadership known as the Mustache Petes for their long mustaches and old world ways, such as refusing to do business with non-Italians. And then we have the quote-unquote Young Turks.
We heard those.
Who was a younger and more diverse Italian-American group who, unlike the Mustache Petes, had grown up in the U.S. and were more forward-thinking and were willing to work with non-Italians. They know how to do business, man.
Right.
You want to build this thing, you got to do business with more than just Italians.
Right. Well, this approach led Masseria's followers to question whether he was even capable of making the mafia prosper in the world of the 1930s. Led by Luciano, the aim of this group was to end the war as soon as possible in order to resume their businesses. I mean, yeah, they're costing us money. Viewing the conflict as unnecessary.
Like, why, dude? Come on.
Luciano's objective was to modernize the mob and do away with unnecessary orthodox norms. This was a vision that enabled Luciano to attract followers who had seen the inadequacies of the Masseria's traditionalist leadership. They're like, we can make it better.
Yep. Well, as mafia guys do, always, both factions were fluid, with many mobsters switching sides or killing their own allies during the war. You can't trust nobody, dude. Tensions between Maranzano and Masseria factions were evident as far back as 1928, with one side frequently hijacking the other's alcohol trucks. During the Prohibition. As the war became more violent, gunmen clashed on the streets of New York. According to Bonanno, in February of 1930, Masseria ordered the death of Gaspar Milazzo, who was a Castellammarese native who was the president of Detroit's chapter of the Unione Siciliana. Come on, guys. Masseria had reportedly been humiliated by Milazzo's refusal to support him in a dispute involving the Chicago outfit and Al Capone.
Well,
he's not going to support you.
That's crazy that, the French really didn't have no mobs, did they?
I don't know.
I was say because Michigan's French all day.
He's not gonna. He's in Detroit. He's like 2 hours away from Al Capone. You think he's really gonna side with you?
Right. Jesus. The opening salvo in the war was fired within the Masseria faction when, on the 26th of February 1930, Masseria ordered the murder of an ally, Gaetano Arena. He's like, gotta go. Masseria gave the job to a young Genovese who killed Rihanna with a shotgun. Oh, man. Dude. Masseria's intent was to protect his secret allies, Tommy Gagliano and Tommy Lucchese.
Lucchese.
Like Lucchese.
Lucchese.
Yes, Lucchese. And Tommy Lucchese. And also Dominic the Gap Petrilli. Later, his treachery would come back to haunt him as the Reina family then threw its support behind Maranzano. They're like, we're going to support Maranzano because you're a freaking...
Right, you just got our guy killed, dude.
You're a freaking loose cannon, bud. Vito Bonventre also became a target as Castellammarese-born members of Niccolo Sciro's gang began to threaten Masseria's domination over Mafia gangs.
Uh-oh.
Masseria forced Sciro to pay $10,000, approximately $170,000 today.
Wow.
And he said, you're going to step down as boss of the gang. On 15th July, 1930, Bonventre was gunned down outside his garage. I guess he said no.
Well, that was Sciro.
Oh, right.
Sciro was the boss, and then they took out the other guy that probably could have been boss.
Right.
August 15th, 1930, Castellammarese loyalists executed a key Masseria enforcer, Giuseppe Morello.
Oh, man.
At Morello's East Harlem office. Another guy with him, Giuseppe Pereno, was also killed.
How do you not be prepared? Especially Giuseppe. He knew what the hell was going on.
During a damn war when you know what's breaking out. Well, 2 weeks later, Masseria suffered another blow. After Reina's murder, Masseria had appointed Joseph Pinzolo to take over the ice distribution racket. However, September 9th, the Reina family shot and killed Pinzolo at a Times Square office rented by Lucchese. After these two murders, the Reina crew formally joined forces with the Castellammarese.
Uh-oh.
It's not looking good for you, Masseria.
No. Masseria soon struck back, though. 23rd of October, 1930, Castellammarese ally Joe Aiello, president of the Chicago Union Sicilian, was moited in Chicago. The tide turns at this point. Following the murder of Aiello, the tide of the war rapidly turned in favor of the Castellammareses. On November 5th, 1930, Migno and a key member of the Masseria gang, Steve Ferrigno. Lou Ferrigno. He was Italian?
I'm assuming.
Yeah, look at that. Steve Ferrigno, they were moited. Migno and Steve Ferrigno, huh?
Yeah.
Francisco Scalise inherited control of Migno's gang, and then he defected to the Maranzano faction.
Wow.
Oh.
At this point, many other members of Masseria's gang also began defecting to Maranzano, rendering the original battle lines of the conflict.
Oh, no.
Which was Castellammarese versus non-Castellammarese, meaningless.
Right. Now
no more. Because everybody's on different sides now.
Right.
Well, not Masseria's. February 3rd, 1931, another important Masseria lieutenant, Joseph Catania, was gunned down, dying 2 days later.
Dang, dude, there's murder and everything. This is some freaking crazy stuff. Mm-hmm. Given the worsened situation, Masseria allies Luciano and Genovese started communicating with Castellammarese leader Maranzano.
Yeah, Luciano's like, we got to get out of here.
Right. In a secret deal with Maranzano, Luciano agreed to engineer the death of his boss, Masseria. He was like, hey, dude, we got to end this shit now. He's got to go. I know, I get it, man. I'll do it. He trusts me. He did this in return for receiving Masseria's rackets and becoming Maranzano's second in command. He's like, but dude, I got to be somebody.
Well, however,
Joe Adonis had joined the Masseria faction when Masseria heard about Luciano's betrayal. He approached Adonis about killing Luciano. Oh, he's like, you got to get real lucky.
Wow.
He's like, yeah.
However, though,
he's going to kill you.
Adonis instead warned Luciano about the murder plot.
Right.
April 15th, 1931, Luciano lured Masseria to a meeting where he was murdered at a restaurant called...
Dude, Adonis told him about it, and he still went.
Yeah, he probably thought we're going to hatch this out.
He warned Luciano about it.
Yeah, but Masseria already knew that Luciano wanted to kill him.
And Masseria was like, I'll still meet you.
Right. Yeah, he lured him to a restaurant called Nuova Villa Tamaro on Coney Island. While they played cards, Luciano allegedly excused himself to the bathroom, with the gunmen reportedly being Albert Anastasia, Vito Genovese, Joe Adonis, and Benjamin Bugsy Siegel.
Oh.
And Ciro, the Artichoke King Terranova.
Hey, the Artichoke King.
He drove the getaway car, but legend has it that he was too shaken up to drive away, and he had to be shoved out of the driver's seat by Siegel. Siegel's like, get me out of here.
Were they best buds or something? Or did he have flashbacks from his bros dying?
Could be.
He's the only one left alive, isn't he?
No, the other Terranovas are alive.
Luciano was brought in for questioning by the Popo. At the time, police suspected a gangster named John Silkstockings Giustra as being one of the gunmen in Masseria's murder. This was based on the report of confidential informant, and that one of the coats found at the Moita was identified as belonging to Giustra himself. The case was dropped after Giustra was moited on the 9th of July, 1930. I guess so. He really got in charge of the guy.
All right, got to take him out.
According to the New York Times, boo. After that, The police have been unable to learn definitely what happened.
Yeah, I bet.
Reputedly, Masseria was seated at a table playing cards with 2 or 3 unknown men when he was fired upon from behind, it says. He died from gunshot wounds to his head, back, and chest. Well, I'm guessing one from this head.
How'd he die from his chest? Hard to get shot in his chest if he was shot from behind.
Right.
Unless it came out his chest, obviously. But
correct.
Masseria's autopsy report shows that he died on an empty stomach.
Aww. Poor guy.
No witnesses came forward, though. No witnesses came forward, though 2 or 3 men were observed leaving the restaurant and getting into a stolen car. No one was convicted, as there were no witnesses.
You know it was a stolen car.
right. No one was convicted, as there were no witnesses, and Luciano had an alibi as well.
Of course he did.
Masseria is buried at Calvary Cemetery in Queens, New York. Yeah, his alibi, he was there.
All right.
How the hell do you have an alibi? Unless someone was like, yeah, he was in the bathroom when it happened.
With the death of Masseria, the war has ended.
It did.
Maranzano organized Mafia in New York City using a clear structure and hierarchy by dividing the main Italian gangs in New York into 5 families. Like, we got to do something here. This town is huge. We can probably fit 5 of us and still make a lot of money.
Right.
So each family had a boss, an underboss, a consigliere, capos, and soldiers, and also associates. While associates could come from any background, the higher ranks had to be made men, required in most areas to be full-blooded Italian.
Mm-hmm. Well, except for New York, the major urban areas in the Northeast and Midwest were organized into 1 family per city by Maranzano due to the size of organized crime in New York. It was organized into 5.
Right.
The bosses of the 5 families in New York were to be the Luciano, which is now the Genovese crime family, the Profesi, which is now the Colombo crime family, Gagliano, now the Lucchese crime family, Maranzano, now the Bonanno crime family, and Frank Scalise.
I think so.
Scalise?
Scalise, yeah.
Scalise.
Yeah.
Scalise.
Scalise, yeah.
And Frank Scalise, which is now the Gambino crime family.
Nice.
Maranzano called a meeting of crime bosses in Wappingers Falls, New York, where he declared himself capo di tutti capi.
Boss of all bosses,
Capi, boss of all bosses, which is not going to sit well with the rest of these fellas.
Right. Well, Maranzano also whittled down the rivals' families' rackets in favor of his own. Luciano appeared to accept these changes, but was merely biding for his time before removing Maranzano. He's like, we'll just let him do this for a little while, guys. Although Maranzano was slightly more forward-thinking than Masseria, Luciano had come to believe that Maranzano was even more greedy and hidebound than Masseria had ever been.
He's like, maybe we should have killed Maranzano.
He's like, dude, that's not what we signed up for, bud.
Well, Maranzano's scheming, his arrogant treatment of his subordinates, and his fondness for comparing his organization to the Roman Empire did not sit well with Luciano and his ambitious friends, such as Vito Genovese, Frank Castello, and others.
Right.
Despite his advocacy for modern methods of organization, including crews of soldiers doing the bulk of a family's illegal work, under the capo, at heart, Maranzano was still a mustache Pete. An old-school mafioso, too steeped in old-world ways.
Yep.
You can't do that now, man. The world's going.
Yeah, he was opposed to Luciano's partnership with Jewish gangsters, such as Meyer Lansky and Benjamin Bugsley Seagal. Which is stupid. Luciano and his colleagues had intended all along to bide their time before getting rid of Maranzano. It's like, dude, just let us get big. We'll get it done. September 1931, Maranzano realized Luciano was a threat. So he hired Vincent Mad Dog Cole, an Irish gangster, to kill Luciano.
Oh, he didn't like him working with the Jewish guys, but he'll work with an Irish guy.
However, Tommy Lucchese alerted Luciano that he was marked for death. He's like, dude, they're coming for you. So whatever plan you got, you better put it in action now. So Luciano was like, okay, September 10th, baby, it is. Maranzano ordered Luciano and Genovese and Genovese to come to his office at the New York Central Building, which is now the Helmsley Building, if you guys are in New York, at 230 Park Avenue in Manhattan.
Dude, this is the mafia boss. He's in Park Avenue. That's where like all the billionaires and shit are.
Right.
Crazy. Convinced that Maranzano planned to murder them, Luciano decided to act first. He sent to Maranzano's office 4 Jewish gangsters, which included Samuel Levine, Bo Weinberg, and Bugsy Siegel himself,
nice,
whose faces were unknown to Maranzano's people. Bugsy's wasn't?
Nope.
They had been secured with the aid of Lansky and Siegel. What?
Cool.
disguised as government agents, two of the gangsters disarmed Maranzano's bodyguards. The other two, aided by Lucchese, who was there to point Maranzano out, stabbed the boss multiple times before shooting him.
Dang.
The only known photographs of Maranzano are from the scene of his death.
Oh, shit. This dude's so stupid.
What's that look like?
Maranzano was buried St. John's Cemetery in Queens, near Luciano's grave. Well, Maranzano was there first.
Right, why is Luciano buried in New York when he died in Italy?
All right. With both Maranzano and Masseria out of the way, it was easier for the young Turks led by Luciano to assume control of the way things function in New York. The first agenda on the table was the reformation and restructuring of the American Mafia. And Luciano envisioned the future of the American Mafia in the form of a major corporation. He believed that this would increase cooperation, reduce conflict, reduce conflict, and ensure plain sailing governance by the Mafia as a whole, which, I mean, he had something there.
Yeah, well, since Maranzano had formed a basic structure that was in the process of being put into effect, Luciano decided to retain the concept to a large extent.
Right.
Owing to his clear disregard for orthodox ideologies that did not have any profitable consequences, Luciano allowed more flexibility in the structure, allowing for the inclusion of other societal groups, like the Jews, to involve themselves with the families.
Okay.
In Joe Bonanno's autobiography, a man of honor, just writing autobiographies, are we? He states, "We revised the old custom of looking toward one man, one supreme leader for advice and the settling of disputes. We replaced leadership by one man with the leadership by committee.
Damn right.
We opted for a parliamentary arrangement whereby a group of the most important men in our world would assume the function formerly performed by one man."
Right.
Dude, you're a leader of the family and you're doing this in a book?
Right.
You're not supposed to tell on this stuff.
In the aftermath of the Maranzano hit, there was believed to have been a massive purge of old-timer mafioso. Oh, dude, they just got rid of everybody. The so-called Night of the Sicilian Vespers. Oh, man. These rumors were seemingly confirmed by the testimony of Joseph Vellecci, but a later study found no signs of massive violence occurring. Of course,
Like you would know.
Luciano formed a commission to oversee all mafia activities in the United States and to serve to mediate conflicts between families, eliminated the capo di tutti capi. So no boss of bosses.
Nope. The commission consisted of 7 family bosses, which was the leader of New York's 5 families, which were Lucky Luciano, Vincent Mangano, Tommy Gagliano. Come on, with the O's, guys. Come on with the O's. Joseph Bonanno and Joe Profaci. Chicago outfit boss Al Capone and Buffalo family boss Stefano Magaddino was also involved. Charlie Luciano, Lucky Luciano, was also appointed chairman of the commission. So he's still the boss of the boss, pretty much, right?
Right. Right.
The commission agreed to hold meetings every 5 years or when they needed to discuss family problems urgently.
Damn, every 5 years. The commission held the power of appropriating the Michigan, what the fuck? The commission held the power of approving a new boss before it could take over officially. The New York 5 families also decided that the names of all new proposed members must be approved by the other families.
Wow, really?
All right. After the new proposed member was approved by the other families, he would become a made man.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Well, they also allowed Jewish mobsters Meyer Lansky, Bugsy Siegel, Louis Lepke Buckhalter, Dutch Schultz, and Abner Longy Zillman to work alongside them and participate in some meetings. Wow. The group's first test came in 1935 when it ordered Dutch Schultz.
Wait, they let him do some meetings?
I guess.
Oh, shit.
Their first test came in 1935 when they ordered Dutch Schultz to drop his plans to murder Special Prosecutor Thomas Dewey. Luciano argued that a Dewey assassination would precipitate a massive law enforcement crackdown.
Of course it would.
Enraged Schultz said he would kill Dewey anyway and walked out of the meeting.
Oh, no.
Oh, dude,
well, he's
can't
done
do that.
Murder Inc. leader Albert Anastasia approached Luciano with information that Schultz had asked him to stake out Dewey's apartment building on Fifth Avenue. Upon hearing the news, the commission held a discreet meeting to discuss the matter. He's like, he's got to go. That's 6 hours of deliberate. Damn, 6 hours. They must really like the guy.
Right. What were they talking about for 6 hours? Can you just should we kill him or not?
I don't know, man. Let's order some dinner.
Probably.
We don't talk about business now.
All right.
Let's do these. After 6 hours of deliberations, the commission ordered Lepke Buckwalter to eliminate Schultz. 23rd of October, 1935. Before he killed Dewey, Schultz was shot in a tavern in Newark, New Jersey, and succumbed to his injuries the very following day. If he would have just listened. No. It was fired over money. Guy's Jewish. Allegedly. It's allegedly over money.
That'll do it for the Castellammarese War. which you did get a little bit of the commission's formation there. But on the next episode, we'll cover the commission as well as some of the most notable stuff that they've had to deal with, and the what was it called, the Appalachian meeting, and as well as the commission trial that happened in the 80s. So it'll be all about the commission. And then after that, we'll get into covering families by family, and we'll start with the oldest, the former Morello crime family, which is the Genovese crime family today. And we'll take a look at some of the most important guys in there. So, lots of exciting stuff coming. So,
a lot of Italian words.
Yes. With that, go check out our other podcasts we do, Battles of the American Civil War, wherever you get your podcasts. And right now we're approaching the Gettysburg Battle. Big time stuff there, while we are covering at the moment the Vicksburg campaign and the Gettysburg campaign simultaneously, which these both are going on at the same time. Big time in the war for the Union. So go check us out over there, and we shall be back next week for the commission. We'll see you then, where the Mother Michigan is with us.